that for the utility, pipe, or the electrical, or?
It was actually from a complaint from some residents that said that the, was making
Truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So keep it in or out, or what's, got some animals back there, a little pit up at the,
You know how it goes.
I do, sadly I do.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a squeaky wheels.
You got it. Yeah.
Hey, I meant to tell you, the grass is looking great.
Oh, God, yeah, it's,
If you haven't gotten the new app, this is the new app.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So I'm gonna, hang on to that one.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm gonna kind of hold it up and say, okay, these are available over here.
Progress.
yeah.
Jason may not make it, he was coming back from France, so he may not make it. It sounded like it was gonna kind of be a game time decision.
Okay.
I guess between the time change, travel, and
Yeah.
everything else has gotta get done. I don't know if he was out for business or pleasure.
Oh,
And maybe. I didn't know she was doing any sailing stuff. I was just went on the trip. Of course, only needs an excuse to take a trip as far as I'm concerned.
So father's pickleball course coming along.
well.
Oh, God, don't bring
It's
that
a long
up.
story.
Hey, it all changed this afternoon.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, there we go.
Forget I mentioned
It
that.
all changed. It's been my whole day. Ain't nothing good about today.
Oh,
Hopefully we can bring a smile to your face.
I doubt it. Just get used to it.
hey, man, you made it. Okay. Yes, sir. Look who you brought along, the Queens. Hello, girls. Hello, girl. Look at you. Be fine. Be fine. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Okay, doing good. Don't get up, don't get up. No.
Hey, thanks for sharing that information about not sending people not wanting to go up to the hill country or use that. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, we're looking at that, and we're gonna, but everybody wanted to jump on it the first week, and they were sending out information saying, we have all the resources
Yeah, I
we
know.
need, we don't need anybody else. So we all decided as a staff,
Yeah.
yeah, 3, 4, 5 weeks later, they're still gonna need resources, they're still gonna need things. And that gives all the emergency management people up there time, I mean, finish, sure, or get towards the end of, you know, recovery and now,
Sure.
you know, search and rescue.
Yeah.
And then they can stand back and go, okay, now we know what we need,
Yeah.
you know.
So I remember sharing that information out to people, wherever I did, and all of a sudden they're loading up, they're still going.
Yeah,
Maybe?
no, they'll still go up there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but at one point, that first week, because there were so many people up there, they were putting out messages, first responders were having a hard time getting around the area up there.
Good, good. How are you?
Too much traffic.
Our church went out there, and they came back with their comfort dogs, and it takes them 4 hours to find a place to rest.
Yeah.
He's out on the Wild Blue yonder.
Good,
What's
good.
going on? All is well, all is well. Smart, what's up?
What's up? How are you?
All
They
is
found a
well.
place to stay.
Well, that's the thing, it takes them 4 hours now to get anywhere from Kerrville. Yeah, because there's so many people out there. Yeah.
Were you sitting here?
No, not here, right here.
Okay.
But you can sit here.
That's fine, right here.
You see the, Navy's gonna have, Fleet Week in November?
Yeah.
Now, where's your ship gonna go?
It's gonna go right downtown.
No, it's gonna put it on Clear Lake. No.
Right downtown.
That's a big issue, where are they gonna put that ship? You know, for Fleet Week, the Navy's got a, first time ever they've done Fleet Week here in Texas. And there'll be a bunch of sailors and Marines here, but where are they gonna put the ship? Houston Ship Channel, very tough with all the security.
Do it down in Galveston.
That's what I think.
Correct, you're gonna have to.
I would think so.
They still have the old cruise terminal in Bayport, I'd say they could probably stash one there, and things like that, they knocked that down, that's knocked.
They put a building there.
It's now a parking lot for containers and stuff, they spent what, $300 and something million on that thing?
Oh, yeah.
And they maybe sailed 12, 16 weeks, something like that. I know I did a couple bunker jobs over there, a few times.
Yep.
For the most part, they didn't really utilize that facility, it was used more for labor for ships needing repair and.
Yeah. Did they tear the whole thing down?
Yeah,
Did they run?
it's just a storage facility now for more
Yeah.
containers to the Bayport terminals. But, all right, it is 1600, let's get this thing underway. It's a call to order, the Maritime Safety Committee, the City of Nassau Bay, July 16th, 2025, at 4 p.m. City of Nassau Bay, Texas, 1800 Space Park Drive, Suite 200, and City Council Chambers of Nassau Bay, Texas, 77058. This is the call to order and the roll call. Chief George, Chief Cromie, Jeff Morton's here,
Stoll in here.
Herb's here, Paulo Alias. So the only one we are missing is Jason, who said he was traveling back from Europe, so he was going to be potentially not making this one. Absent. Alrighty. So next item up is the citizens' comments. It is 16:01. This time is now open for the citizens to bring any concern regarding things. If you could keep your remarks to 3 minutes, and as we are live streaming, if you could speak up.
Yes, sir.
And make sure to identify yourself, name, address, all that fun stuff.
Hey, I'm Brenton Parker. I live at 18603 Carriage Court. I was just asked to come here and just share a few comments from the 4th of July. We were out there, I think right by the floating dock at David Brown Park. And there was about 20 feet between me and another boat. It was a Little John boat, Little Johnson on the back. So it was a small boat. And another boater tried to split us going full speed with twin props. It was a little scary. I got my 2 little kids on the front bow, senior citizen, also with us, clearly visible. Just not enough attention was being focused. I mean, it probably would have washed me and the other boater had we not tried to slow the gentleman down. I guess there has been big topic about that no wake zone right over there for that floating dock. I was curious about it myself and happened to look. What does the city of Nassau Bay say to keep it pragmatic and right down the middle? It says right there on the website, stay 50 feet. You need to do headway speed unless you're 50 feet. If you are 50 feet within a person, a boat, an object, a dock, a shoreline. It's right there on Nassau Bay's website. You know, I had another idea about that. A good compromise, because there's a lot of contention between people that do and do not want it. It does not cost anything to park an empty squad car right there in the lot to just show a presence. You know, I used to live in Dallas, and they used to do that at some of the gas stations they had problems with. They just park an empty squad car out there, and it helped deter some people. Not everybody, but it does help. So maybe that is a suggestion. I don't know what y'all are discussing, but that is something, you know. I don't know. I don't know what y'all got. I know I got a stop sign in my front yard that nobody asked for, but I'm pretty sure anywhere there's a kayak dock, there should be a no-wake zone or something. And I don't think there is anything there. I don't know, that's about it. Like, it was a little bit scary. You know, I saw that same boat at the dock because we launch out of Nassau Bay the next day, full of beer cans, you know, so it's not a surprise. But it is something, it happened right there around that blind den at David Braun Park. So it is fairly relevant. I don't know, I just wanted to stop by. I can't stay, I gotta go to Bible school. So, y'all have a great day. I appreciate y'all letting me take my time and say a few words.
Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a great day.
You too. All right. I think that's the only non-committee member in the room right now. So at 16:05, we will close the citizens' comments. Committee member comments. We'll just go around the horn. Chief George, let's start with you.
I'm a little curious if we're still operating drones for the city.
Chris hasn't had a chance to run his up over the weekends.
I don't think we should be. I just want to put my opinion on that. I think it's an invasion of privacy. It might, the reason I asked that is because I had a citizen call me Monday, and this guy for 30+ years. He says there is a drone out there flying around, and it's hovering over boats. It hovered over his boat a couple times. It's hovering over other boats, so it's probably some snooper. I don't know if you can stop them. I'm just glad it's not ours. And no one other than I think you or Chris had actually seen any pictures or videos, so I would recommend that we stop that operation.
Okay.
That's my
Sounds good. I know Chris, when he takes videos, he likes to post them up on the various Facebook pages that he's on and his own page. And he just goes up on his own a lot of times. He'll just kind of send me additional pictures so I can kind of get a head count.
There are also new laws coming out on drone operations this year.
Yeah.
You said, I'm sorry. you said
There are
laws?
new laws coming out on private drone operators.
This is laws through the state of Texas or laws through federal?
Through the FAA.
Through the FAA.
Other than that, it's been a really busy summer for us. I don't have numbers right here in front of me, but we've had a lot more calls than normal. Of course, the hours out on the water is patrol. We're seeing less people and more calmer crowds. Even like this past weekend was boring. So something is happening. I don't know why. Maybe there's a very large presence of other law enforcement agencies. During 4th of July, we saw quite a bit of activity because of the task force that was all part of. But the Coast Guard was at the Leeward Station this past Saturday. So that whole operation is working well. We're meeting a lot of good people, making good contacts. So it's all going well.
Now, when you say you're getting an increase in calls, we're talking like actual injuries, we're talking just kind of heat
Well,
exhaustion?
we've had one accident, we've saved 2 jet skiers, kayaker. This past weekend, we had another call out there for boat sinking or on board. So it's just busy.
Okay. Chief Crummy?
Yeah. So the increase in call that Chief George was talking about are more rescues than not complaints or anything. I don't think we've had any complaints this year related to maritime activity. I think there was maybe one that was not official. It came through to the text message, and it was like 10:30 at night. So, but we did participate in the BWI voting while intoxicated, BWI driving while intoxicated July 4th initiative that LaForte and the Harris County Sheriff's, DA's office organized. And because of that, our marine safety station over on Leeward was, we offered that up for the marine operations that were gonna be in the Clear Lake area for a break and rest area. So it was officially in the IAP, the Incident Action Plan for all the agencies to utilize. So that's why we saw an increase over July 4th of Parks and Wildlife, DPS, Harris County, U.S. Coast Guard, us, League City,
Any,
all out here in the area.
any enforcement actions, any arrests?
Not that I'm aware of. I haven't gotten the numbers. LaPorte hadn't shared the numbers. I didn't see them last week. I think their lieutenant that was in charge was on vacation the week after. They were gonna gather the numbers, but I haven't seen anything. But I do know for our numbers, on July 4th, we had, the July 4th weekend, we had 25 safety checks. There were 2 contacts with voters for information. I think they were tied up to signage out there. Just advised to untie from there. We had 2 weight violations that were noticed the whole weekend while we were out on patrol. There was 29 total contacts with the boats. 1 citation was issued and there were 2 warnings issued.
Okay, so one of the weight violations was a citation or those warnings?
I believe that was a weight violation.
Okay, so it's actually citation.
Yeah. And it actually was a Nassau Bay resident, it wasn't a visitor, so. But overall for the year, we've had 92 contacts, while we're out on marine operations. So, yeah, and only 4 of those have been for weight violations. So, I think the signage and the buoys are doing some good. So,
Awesome.
yeah. I know, anyhow, so that's what we have.
All right, excellent. Jeff?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Jim? In conjunction with the testimony, we got one citizen there, a gal came from Nassau Bay, her name is Faye Bennett, and Faye came and talked, they went on coffees and talked about, she grew up around the area, and she's a regular at the dog park like I am, and we see so much stuff at the dog park, we see more of that Clear Creek than most people do, because the visibility coming around the blind bend, and I mean, tubers are coming around there, so she gave a testimony, she was gonna be here now, but unfortunately, she's up in Yellowstone, so, bad. But the other thing that big concern is that it took that boat that ended up in David Braun Park. We've gotta talk about that. So a boat came around, and I was there that evening, and which had happened the weekend before Memorial Day. And I was getting ready to leave the dog park about 7 o'clock a.m. The volunteer fire department were there looking for a boat that had an accident. So by chance, we just followed each other into the park and found a 28-foot boat with twin screws up inside David Braun Park by the trees. And that boat had to jump up, get high. And so just by chance, my boat was in a fiberglass shop last week, and I was there, and the owner was giving us a description of one boat was there, $1.2 million, hit a log in Galveston County, and the other boat was there was that same boat that ended up at David Braun Park. And so it had a hole in the bottom of it. It had a Parks and Wildlife seizure tag on it, but I couldn't read it. But it was in that shop. But that boat ended up in the park, and as a result, what people do is they come around that park, and that boat hit a dead on, just it went straight into the doorway. It didn't hit the side of the riprap. It went straight up and into the air and came down. Serious, and I don't know how this works, but I went and looked at the Parks and Wildlife, and I don't know how long it takes them to report that. Do you know anything about that, Chief?
They're still investigating that. We were out there, fire department, EMS.
Yeah.
And law enforcement, and we called Parks and Wildlife out.
Right.
And they're working that accident. They're working that case and still investigating it.
Right, yeah. So I guess they don't post anything online until they have it fully.
Well, I don't know what they'll post online. It'll be part of their annual numbers.
Okay.
But they won't post anything specific about that particular case or anything.
You know, we're not gonna wind up getting like the NTSB puts out a report for major maritime incidents or major just general commercial traffic incidents. You know, NTSB will put out something like that, but for small stuff, Texas Parks and
Yeah.
Wildlife.
Well,
I'm sure you can probably request it at some point. You might be able to request it, I'm not sure if they would release that info or not.
Yeah. It's
So-
gonna be a human factor.
Oh, yeah, oh, well, I was there and I saw blood in the boat, so I guess they went off to the, got to the hospital before the EMS came there, because the EMS, and the patrol boat showed up over there too, so we had to look down at the patrol boat, so it must be like 7 or 8 foot up in the air, and I got pictures of it, so. But that to me is a big concern, and the other big concern is people coming around that we have blind bends in Nassau Bay, there is no doubt about it. You can't avoid them, and one of them's right across from the park, from David Ron Park, and the whole area around the park is blind bends. You can't see who's coming around the corner. And Coast Guard have rules about this stuff. You know about blind bends. What are you supposed to do on a blind bend? You're supposed to honk a horn, make a sound, go slow, and they don't. I mean, they don't. One of my neighbors the other day, he's got to go fast, go twin screws. I'm at the park, I'm watching him come around that corner. He barely made the turn, so he's in the League City side. He's coming around that corner, and he's going up, just like this guy gave a testimony, going up, and he hit full throttle, and then he went over to, should have been the League City side, he shifted over to the Nassau Bay side in the middle. And when you go up like that in those boats, you cannot see who's in front of you. It's impossible, because they have to go so fast and so high until they plane out. It's just dangerous. We need to have enforcement around there, like no wake zones. So I had and so the other thing that's just frustrating to me is, as I talk to people at the dog park, there's all sorts of people that give testimony about all the accidents that happen over there, and they don't get reported. I don't know what happens. I mean, I don't know, but a lot of people do it. So what's the best way for them to communicate? A written letter to us? Because not a lot of people want to come talk. Is that the best way to do it?
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting a city email set up for the committee, and then they can let us know. I mean, at the very least, just say, hey, we witnessed this. We can forward it on to Nassau Bay PD if they don't get the first contact on it.
Well, if there's an accident, it's not being reported to the police department when it's happening, then
I mean, there's not much they can do about it, but at least we can have an anecdotal record of it.
Well, a lot of them throughout the years have seen stuff like that happen, you know, and I don't know the history and all that stuff, but they've seen it, where boats are up on the side of the bulkhead.
Now, I think one thing you're asking, Jim, is for more enforcement, but you
Yes.
gotta remember, you know, it's just a weekend right now, it's just weekends from 2 to 6, you know,
Yeah.
depending on volunteer efforts, 'cause
Well,
it's all volunteer.
And more importantly, again, that's
And-
also
and it's
shared
just-
waterway.
Yeah.
And if they are just on League City side, they'll, you know, they might have to go through the hassle of going to court, but nothing will happen to them because they'll say, nope, this was outside of Nassau Bay's jurisdiction unless there's an interlocal
Yeah.
agreement. And
We have the same thing in Webster. We share water with Webster and Calvia. We have no wake zones over there. So that's a shared waterway too.
except for all the only navigable water is actually on the Nassau Bay side
Not
because
so,
of the shoulder.
that's not so. We disagree there. And you'll see jet skis, Pete Stroker came and talked, you'll see jet skis hauling butt on the Webster side, and that's navigable water.
Well, we
Shallow.
have, when the boat is in the water for enforcement action, they are doing patrols out in the creek and bayous and over, and Venus brought up to us that there were some resident complaints over by the Bal Harbor and Swan Lagoon. They're making their way down there at least once or
Yeah.
twice, you know, a day. So
Yeah.
so when they're on the water, they're doing enforcements in those areas. It's just,
I know.
we
And I
don't
saw
we don't have 24 hour.
Well, I know we don't, and I'm not asking for that, but I'm just asking that we have some kind of put things in place where they have no wake zones. Actually, no idle
Yeah, well,
zones.
Jim, that's part of the new business, so
Okay.
let's,
Okay,
yeah, this is just committee member reports, so
Okay.
we can delve a little deeper into this when we
Okay.
get to item 7-1.
so anyway, that's my summary there. There's been a lot of accidents, and other people are reporting it, and, but they don't show up and talk. I think they get a little shy.
Herb, what you got?
I have nothing to add.
Nothing to add. Paul?
Yeah, just one thing, I'll let Elias talk on the signs and the buoys and stuff, but, I'm asked to look at the, Finger Pier canoe launch.
Yes.
I don't know much about canoe launches, to be honest with y'all. I did go out there yesterday. To me, I don't see nothing wrong with that, but then again, I'm not a big kayaker. I know that, one, there's no parking on Upper Bay, so to launch a canoe out of there, I don't know where you'd park at. Second is that, I was asking if we could drop it lower, but if you're sitting on a canoe, how are you going to get out of the water? And then we removed that board at the very
Okay.
end, and so I'm gonna be looking at this, but I don't know much about this, so I'm asking for a little help or just some input. I think that's correct, it's 10 foot wide, but I don't know.
Does it need rail? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm kayaking, maybe you have, Jim. I've never used that launch. I've used the prominent launch, David Vaughn. And that is doable. Of course, the parking is fundamentally an issue, but just to drop it in, it's very steep, so it's a bit tricky to navigate. I don't know, that's probably a big expense to change. But down, as you mentioned, getting in the boat itself, it'd be handy to have one of those ladders that you have at the David Vaughn Park. That ladder helps quite a bit and would make a difference, I think. Otherwise, you need probably some pretty major adjustments to the angle of that.
Okay. Because I've looked on YouTube, I've looked on some different websites, and it looks like the angle's good. I just don't know if it's flattened more, it's gonna be more difficult to launch. Because everything I've seen is, they're sitting on them, and then they're going in the water, which makes perfect sense, but I could be wrong. So if y'all have anything that would help me, please email me so I can look at it. 'Cause I don't know, I've been in them, but I don't know about the launches. To me, that looks correct, but I
And
could
you
be
said
wrong.
some, obviously issue with parking and offloading and all that. I mean, do we want to add this on the next month's agenda?
I would.
Kind of get a lay of the
'Cause-
land?
Yeah, because there is no parking on Upper Bay, so they would have to maybe launch,
You have to.
park, maybe
Yeah.
on Vinland, walk all the way across.
No, that's right across the street from, that's pretty close, well,
Big Greg's house.
residential area.
Yeah.
Right, that's a problem.
Anyway, that's all I got. I have had no complaints, as far as, 4th of July, week or two before that, had no complaints, and I think the signage is working. I think the buoys are definitely working. So I think, going forward, I think it's going very well. So that's all.
Yeah, so I know a couple of the buoys got moved over the 4th of July weekend, so we moved them back to their original locations. And we have all the signs in. We're just trying to get our schedule with Captain Pitt with Towboats USA to come out, and we'll put them all up.
Okay. And we'd also gotten reports that the entrance channel is now only down to one no wake zone sign.
What now?
The entrance channel, as you're coming in across the peninsula, as you're crossing the top end of the peninsula, coming into the cove.
North side, yeah.
You're getting, we'd put out what's, I think originally 6 no wake signs throughout that stretch, and we're down to 1.
Okay.
Apparently, people have been taking them.
Oh, wow, okay.
Elias and I talked about it the other night. We may want to look at probably some JB weld or something on the back end of the nuts and bolts. That way it just makes it a lot more difficult to get it off. Once it's on there, put some JB weld, and maybe put some silicone once that cures. Some kind of 2-part epoxy to really seal it in. That way they can't just come in and unbolt it.
And I think we've ordered 2 extra buoys just in case.
Yeah.
There's like a 3-week wait period, so
Yeah.
we've ordered them.
Good to
So maybe
have.
we'll do the same with some signs.
I think the buoys and stuff are on another agenda item, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going to be in the subcommittee report.
Yeah, I'm.
Okay.
Which we'll kind of slide into in a minute. All right, and then for me, really nothing else to add. We'll just kind of plug through the report, plug through the agenda.
Okay. You're leaving.
All right, so on to subcommittee reports. Aids to navigation, review of all aids to navigation and remaining signs, buoys to be placed. So I know we've gotten a good chunk of them out, but we still have a good number left to install. Where do we still have to install at?
On the signs?
For the signs.
it'd be I think there was maybe
You're talking signs, you're
19.
talking about floating signs, you're talking about.
So, well,
No,
we're-
I
we're
think-
talking about actual fixed dayboard signs.
Yeah, these signs. I
Yeah,
think there were,
buildings on signs.
I think there are 19, I think there are 19, the no dredging and the no, some of the no wake, the danger, all that. I think next week you're trying to shoot for that.
Okay, so we should have all signs in most likely next week sometime?
Yeah, the end of next week, yes.
So I think part of that was straightening up the poles too, right?
Yeah.
Or is that sometime done?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Payne Brothers, they're
Hard to do
booked
with.
up for a while, yeah.
Okay.
So is the buoys being moved, is it possible to put more weight on those or something to make it a little bit more, I mean, were the weights and everything moved or just the buoys themselves? Or
So
the-
when our guys found it, it was like the chain had gotten cut. I don't know if somebody actually cut that or maybe that happened from a boat passing close to it.
We got,
But,
could have gotten
yeah,
caught up with their boat. I mean, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
When you're talking that much weight, that much force working on a chain link. Doesn't,
It's not chain link though, it's braided wire.
Yeah.
Braided wire.
braided wire.
Yeah, so we're looking to getting something thicker, and more heavy duty.
Okay. Was there sand in that or was it a block of concrete?
Concrete.
Okay.
I know before it was 7/16 stainless steel braided wire. And we had those cut too. Yeah,
Pretty good size.
yeah, it's pretty good size, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they wanna move them, they'll move them.
So, you're looking at, so it's against the law to do those things. I mean, it is. I've been looking through the Parks and Wildlife and all that stuff. I remember one time voting in California, that's another story, I'm talking about that, that's another story.
So by the end of next week, we should see most of that stuff out.
But the buoys weren't, we didn't lose them? They were
No,
just
we didn't
moved?
lose them. No, they were
Okay.
just moved.
All right.
I believe there was a clump of three, I believe.
That's why it's, to me, it doesn't sound like someone was trying to take them. It sounds more like someone
Yeah.
just got fouled up in them.
Okay, that's good.
On the same subject.
It's better, it's better.
Yeah.
I'll say it's good, it's better.
Yeah.
It's better than.
Now it's just people not paying attention to where they're going.
So, I will say that, I think Tom can, Chief George can say from his guys being out on the boat, my guys being out on the boat, having those buoys where we plan to place them has been very helpful with keeping the
Yeah.
activity to one side of the buoys. Because it gives the boaters, but some of the information, contacts that our teams have made has been to let them know, hey, you know, if you're gonna raft up, you gotta be on that side. And, they haven't had any pushback from anybody, they've gone ahead and moved, but it gives everybody out on the water a visual of where they should be.
Sure.
So I think putting that together was a good
Very much
idea.
so.
Yeah,
All that
Good
makes
dual
sense.
It's a line.
yeah,
All that makes sense.
yeah.
Great. So we'll have the eight tons, so you've got 2 new buoys on order just to keep an inventory, or three on order for inventory, okay. Just to keep an inventory.
So,
We've got all the buoys in Cow Bayou done, and all the signage is done in Cow Bayou as well, or we still need to get, or is that in the group that's coming
That's
next
gonna
week?
be it.
Okay. Swan Lagoon Ball Harbor?
Same thing.
Same thing, okay.
Yeah, the guys can't work on, we got a 16-foot John boat. Tom tried to get volunteers to help us, but it's just too much. out
Yeah,
there.
you know, you need a.
So, yeah, so we got the
platform.
barge, we got that barge.
Okay, perfect.
And then we do pay, what do we pay, about 1,500?
Every time.
Yeah.
Is it 1,500 for the day, or is it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So it's good to just do everything in one
yeah,
shot.
yeah.
And then like I said, if we can look into something to kind of for those, for the signs, like I said, some kind of 2-part epoxy, like JB Weld or Bondo or something that, you know, once we get it good and tight on there, just put that epoxy on, it'll fuse right in there and it makes it not impossible, but whoever comes out is gonna have to really, if they're trying to take, if the people are trying to take the signs, it's gonna make it very difficult for them to take.
okay, another comment about that. So on the other side, on the east side of the peninsula, coming up from the peninsula, on the very east side, about midway, on the Nassau Bay side, there's a broken up buoy that's been there for years. It's all busted up. It looks like it's been run over 100 times, but it's on Nassau Bay, right next to our Nassau Bay Lagoon. Or peninsula, excuse me, peninsula, not lagoon.
Inside the
You're
cove?
talking about in the creek.
No, sir.
Talk about
No, it's
the
on,
new
it's
site.
on,
By signature.
if you look at those nice houses along League City, it's right in there. Huh?
I know exactly, it's on the creek, and it's
Yes,
right there
yes,
across from
yes,
Signature
yes.
Point.
Exactly, exactly. So it's, there's one buoy there, and then there's another buoy that's close to, the south side of, Peninsula, right across from the wharf. The wharf used to have dozens of them out there,
But that would be on the League City side.
but it's on,
Right.
it's on our water, it's on our side, so if you take
It's right
that.
in the middle, and in the past, we've never maintained it. Someone
I've,
else
I've
does.
never, yeah, I've never known to maintain that.
Here's the point I'm trying to make, but it's in my opinion, it's in Nassau Bay property. It's right on, it's inside Nassau Bay. We should split that creek in half, going north. The left side of it's our side, the right side of it's Lake City or Galveston County. I'll show you a picture, I'll show you a picture.
The question is who initially placed that buoy? Because here's the thing, if it's Galveston County or TGLO that placed it, then we really have no say over it, other than, hey, this is either maybe in the way or it's not in good condition. Just to let whoever know, because we got eyes on it.
Okay, so here's the story about the Wharf Marina. For a long time, people at the Wharf Marina lived and owned their docks. And it used to be a very popular spot for liveaboards. They would own their boat. There's a lot of people living there. And those guys just put out no wake signs all over the place. It's just what they did. And I don't think any government agency did it, to my knowledge, so. I mean, I'm not too sure, but they're not living on that place anymore because there's so much trouble over there. The wharf.
On League City side.
Yes,
Yeah.
inside League City, right. That's on Davis Lane. Just as you're around the bend right across
Yeah.
from the peninsula, where our peninsula starts.
Maybe we can find out, maybe reach out to someone, figure out who we can reach out to, and
But
see who owns it.
why would we do that? Why would we just put a new one out there and worry about that? I mean, that's just kind of a question. Why wouldn't we put one out there?
Well, one, if it's not a certified no wake zone to begin with, then
What do you mean? Okay, when you're talking certified, I need clarity on what
So-
you're talking about.
there are multiple levels that you have to go through in order to get a no wake zone. The first one that you have to do is you have to clear through Texas Government Land Office. TGLO has to. If you don't physically own that particular waterway and it's zoned, like the Cove is owned, that's ours. But Cal Bayou, Clear Creek, that's state of Texas. That's Texas Government Land Office. You have to go through them first. You have to demonstrate a need, file the paperwork, hearings.
Yellow?
Yeah,
Okay.
all that other stuff. Then Coast Guard has to okay the signage and everything. Because then they add it to the, then they have to kick it up to be added to the nav charts and
Okay.
all that. So there's multiple layers on things. And then if you want to deal with any types of enforcement, then you have to look at who's in charge over there, interlocal agreements, the whole nine.
Okay, did we do the same thing on Cow Bayou?
Now, Cal Bayou, that was probably
I mean,
done
we just
25 plus
we
years
just
ago.
put, Mr. Chairman, we just put buoys out there not too long ago.
We replaced existing buoys that the city has been responsible for.
Yeah.
That's all.
But when you're talking about, Jim, is Paul saying that we've never had any control over that one, we've never maintained it, so.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, I don't doubt that. I mean,
Yeah.
they probably just got thrown out there, who knows?
Yeah, so.
They got thrown away, I mean, drifted over there.
So, then, so in terms of that one, I mean, that one by that Wharf Marina is really not something that we're, I'd say, worried about. I mean, it's something to keep an eye on, and, if it becomes a nav hazard, then we can maybe do something about it. If it's not it's not a navigation hazard, if it's not owned or maintained by us, then there's really nothing for us to do. That's really the bottom line.
I didn't know those were replaced over there.
Yeah, so the ones on Cal Bayou, those have been there, that's, the city's been maintaining those for forever.
That's where my boat's at, I didn't know that.
Yeah, those ones that, So those
Sometimes
pilings,
you don't see them.
yeah, the pilings leading up on the west side of the channel and the buoys, those are maintained by us, the city of Nassau Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all our
Some
turf. Okay, moving on to old business. 6.1, consideration possible action approving minutes of April and May. Jason's been traveling, so we do not have those, we'll table that. And just, we'll have a whole bunch of them next meeting. Old business 6.2, consideration of possible action regarding the survey. Regarding questions to be sent out for the survey regarding usage and safety of public waterways in adjoining areas.
Okay.
This is kind of what we had discussed, kind of putting out a quality of life survey, seeing if the changes that we've made so far are having an effect, seeing what the residents and those who utilize the waterways would like to see, what types of activities they'd like to engage in, so that we can kind of further drive our own initiatives going forward. And I think with doing this, we understand the second it gets out on the internet, it's not just going to be Nassau Bay specific. Anyone can get a hold of it. So in my opinion, I think we should, at the very least, to start it off, to have two questions, resident or non-resident. And then filter down from there. That way we know, okay, obviously we want to weigh residents' opinions more heavily than non-residents, but
Why?
well, they're the taxpayers of this city. That's why we want to weigh. They're the ones who live here, they're the ones who pay the taxes, they're the ones that, have a societal and citizen stake in, in this. Just as you would for a park, you invite everybody in to utilize your parks, but it's driven by the wants of the citizens.
Okay.
So, I guess we can look at what types of questions do we want to ask? And it's not just going to be people using the waterways, it's also, our residents that live nearby, are they seeing a reduction in, say, wake damage to their bulkheads? Are they seeing a reduction in noise, or is there, is that still a concern? Well, so we kind of want to, we're going to be looking at not just the waters themselves, but, the residents that are probably within, a block or so of the waters.
Just, structurally, as far as the tool,
I can't hear you.
yeah, structurally, as far as the tool, it's just my 2 cents. I think that it should be, as brief as possible. Won't get the feedback, the desired feedback.
Survey.
Right, so maybe a maximum of 10 to 12 questions, but then have the open-ended.
Leave
also,
a comment section.
right? Exactly, and what you can do is you can have specific questions, where they can do free text. They can just say what they want about a specific question we have. So we can start with something what they call like a Likert scale or Likert scale, which is, you ask a question and then, so, very much so, not, all that kind of good stuff. Or agree, strongly disagree, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So we could start with questions there, and then you have like numerical, quantitative, so many percent says this, right? On the issues that whatever those questions are. And then you can have the free text on very specific questions that we might have heard, here. I think the free text, just my 2 cents, the free text questions should be relevant to the discussions that we have heard and not heard, like, he mentioned some of the, informal conversations at the dog park or what people see and don't see. This would be an alternative form of giving voice to people, right? So just structurally, I think it should be as brief as possible, but let them that's not a good word. Let them comment as much as they want to on the free text or open-ended questions.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess that obviously question 1 is going to be, are you a resident or a non-resident? And then I guess the next would be, do you use the waterways?
And how?
And how many days a year?
I think, Brian, do you use the waterways? Somehow we need to put context to
Recreationally? or-
Nassau Bay,
Okay,
not, because we don't want to start getting to all of Clear Lake,
yeah.
you know, the Seabrook area. And,
Yeah.
You know, if this is gonna be, you know, outside of our water bills and stuff, it's gonna be general public, then we start getting information from, you know, well, you know, Keenan and Seabrook, and we'd like to see this. We're
Yeah,
not-
yeah, that's,
Not that we're not interested in that, but that's not our focus.
So I guess, do you use Nassau Bay waterways, cove/creek, just kind of designated
Yeah.
in the parenthesis? You know, we'll do that with a yes, no, and then how many days per year? We can leave that as the open-ended.
well, the other thing too, we put in there, I want to put in there, is what type of vessel do you have? Do you have a power boat, do you have a paddle boat, and what kind of vessel do you have?
Okay, well, I mean, that can definitely be the next question.
Sure.
We can go.
Sure.
Like I said, you know, keeping in the spirit of Herb's idea, which I think is great, you know, we want to be brief, but as comprehensive as possible.
Sweet.
So I think with your question that you've got there, do you use the Nassau Bay waterways? And, you know, yes or no check mark. After that, how often?
Yeah.
And just leave it, you know.
Yes, no, then how often? Is the open-ended. Okay.
You want to include how many people they have in their boat typically?
I'm sorry.
No, because that can be such a varying thing.
Well, I don't think it's a bad question.
It's not a bad question. I think more of the types of activities that folks may want to see, such as, I'm just throwing out there, for example, like skiing, wakeboarding, things of that nature, or swimming, are going to you know, those are gonna be, driving the population more than just asking how many people. You know, we're gonna see, you know, are the folks just going out there to fish, or are they going out there to, you know,
So take your
The
dog in the water.
activities of the board, yeah.
I think the activity is gonna be the better indicator of the number of people versus, you know, because a family of 3 and a family of 6 can both do the same activity.
Well, if you know the type of vessel.
Yeah.
That also dictates perhaps how many people.
A little bit too. But yes, so what types of vessels? And this one can be check as many as necessary, because some folks may one day go out go out on their center console, and the next day they might take their kayak.
So just two things kind of come up for me. One of them is, so most of the questions that we just came up with, more demographic, like what type of boat, what type of, you know, why people do it. I think that those are very important, of course. But as far as like some additional substance to it could be how long have they been boating? You know, or have they done the training, right?
Exactly.
Of course, when you get over a certain age, you don't have to have proof of training, but experience is important also, because the things that I heard, right, during this meeting and all the previous ones, was that this real tough tangle we have to do with trying to, or the expectation to manage or enforce morals or know-how. And that comes up with the people who wash up at the park, the people who tried to split the gentleman's, boat, that is experience and that is know-how, and of course, some of the variables, not being drunk and things of that nature. But I think it's to be able to address some of these things we really can't physically solve, like a person that lacks boating etiquette and has no regard for the rules, that can be captured in at least the number of respondents that, the X% number of respondents stated that they have over 10 years experience. And that could give, an idea, actually give paint a picture of, the experience level of people on the water. If they're doing, let's say, just for the heck of it, let's say 25% of them say that they have less than, 2-3 years experience, then that would be like an indicator of why we have certain issues or problems, because there's I don't want to say it's significant, but it's a noticeable number of people who are experienced or unexperienced rather on the water. So I'm not petitioning for the question, I'm just trying to provide some context to maybe where we should be, questions that we should be thinking about that can, one, solve contextually some issues that we've heard possibly, or at least give voice to it. And then also beyond the demographics of how many and what kind and whatnot, like, we really have to think about safety in the future, right? And we also have to think about safety now, yep. But we have to think about questions that are gonna help us in the future. That's what I mean by safety in the future.
Yep.
What is it gonna help us in the future as far as a committee? We might wanna find out things that, I'm being redundant, that help us as a committee. So I just wanna put that on everyone's radar.
Are you
Getting that
thinking
feedback.
specifically of having some questions related to safety reporting, what types of safety incidents have you seen, or what can be done to improve safety, or things like
Sure.
that?
Sure, like the example that was given, if, let's say, we find out from the numerics that, people need another way to, I don't know, report something that happened, right? Even though it's time delayed. Then we would know, we need to market more
That's
this,
a good idea.
our email, right? Once we get that up, we need to market more, our link on the city webpage for safety. So we wanna just think about questions that will provide us indicators that can solve problems, is what I'm just kinda doing a broad brushstroke as far as our intentionality of forming these questions.
Definitely, especially something like that, we can do that as more of one of the open.
And the thing is, I don't have any examples, so, I mean, I'm just saying, I just think that it's a great, frame of mind to think about how this survey can help us.
So going back to what Chief said, what is it, like Nassau Bay voters, is that kind of what you're recommending? Nassau Bay resident voters?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I think just to quote the second one that we talked about is, or was it the first one, how often do you use the Nassau?
So, yeah, it would be question 2 technically, so.
Yeah.
Do you use Nassau Bay Waters, the Cove/Creek, yes or no? And
Yeah, it
then
doesn't
how often?
doesn't necessarily have to be a Nassau Bay voter, that, I think that implies somebody who lives here,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and as I said, question 1 is going to be, are you a resident or non-resident
Yeah.
of Nassau Bay? And that's gonna help us from there say, okay, and that's also gonna tell us, are our own people using these waters, or is the majority of our traffic coming from somewhere else?
And one question I'd like to see, Brian, is that, I get this all the time, because we just pushed out economic development recruitment video. It's on YouTube. And it shows, the waterways and boat and everything, but then people are asking me, you want us to come to Nassau Bay, but leave our boat? Or I think there has to be a question of, do you enjoy the recreation that we're currently doing, or is it, you feel like it's too dangerous, or do you, because I'm getting people saying, you wanna come to Nassau Bay, which is a big recreational waterfront community, but
the impression
the impression is, I have a boat, but don't bring it to Nassau Bay. So I'm getting that a lot, and so even,
And then we have a whole subsection on, and that's, really, that's the real main driver of this is the recreation aspect of things.
Of course.
And that's going to be, do people feel safe recreating? Are there the activities? Now, we've got Sunday mornings until, what is it, noon? Or Saturday and Sunday until noon is the water skiing.
I believe so,
Yeah, there was,
Yeah.
it was
Something like that, yeah.
basically morning, yeah.
Yeah, and Saturday and, it's both Saturday and
So,
Sunday.
would
Yeah.
you inform me what that is? I lost track of what that means.
It's not published.
No, it's just been kind of one of those. Yeah.
And where does it go? I mean, I missed that.
So, somewhere along the way, somewhere, some way, they allotted time on the weekends for folks to, to water ski, in certain areas where that is the activity, before all the boaters kind of show up and take over the cove.
Did you see that?
It's gonna be on a new sign, actually.
It's gonna be on the news side.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm not seeing it, it kind of makes sense. Does that include pulling or, rafts and tubes, anything that you might tow?
Yeah, that's all the towables and stuff, and that's from the, includes all the way from the entrance channel, all the way into the cove, or just down towards, towards like the choke point by Sea Cove.
So, here it is, subsection J of the existing ordinance, water skis, outdoor planes, et cetera, time and manner of operation. Number one, no person may operate a vessel on any water of the city towing a person or persons on water skis, surfboards, or similar devices, and no person may engage in water skiing, surfboarding, or similar activities at any time between the hours from 1/2 hour after sunset to 1/2 hour before sunrise. So that's basically in it, our subsection does not apply to units. Yeah, no, it doesn't have any, thing about the morning, I thought it did.
I don't think.
I'm looking.
I need to reach out to Dick Gregg, find out. I know it was discussed, I don't remember if they ever codified it or not.
I'm looking at the new amendment here that, voting regulation, is it? Yeah, the new, what was just passed in, last year, July was just about weight.
Yeah, going from the excessive, no excessive to straight
Yeah.
down. Okay, so let me follow up, I'll follow up with either Phil or Dick Gregg on that, the hours for the skiing, wakeboarding. See where that is, and if it needs to be codified, and
I don't think it's been a problem, has it?
no.
I mean,
As I said, it hasn't been a problem, but they have mentioned before that, in the mornings on the weekends, that there's a set time, and it ends, I think, around noon or so.
I think the idea was tossed out there, but I don't think it was ever, Paul wouldn't know that.
No, it was passed.
Was it?
Yeah.
I'll look through the ordinance again.
Okay. If we find it, we find it, otherwise we can always just dig for it later. If you don't mind.
Continue on, I'll come back.
Okay.
If I find it.
SFA has recreational activities, recreational boating activities.
Can we email you, survey question recommendations?
Yeah, you can kick them over, we'll we'll try to have this finalized, and all that. You know, for the survey itself, I don't think we're gonna need we're not gonna need a motion to actually carry each survey question, right? I think we should just be able to, just kind of finalize it offline if need be, last couple of questions and last comments, and just set a specific deadline to get it over to Paul, and that way he can kick it over to however he has to.
Okay.
I don't know if he's gonna have to run stuff through Dick and I, or.
I'll help format, the scale.
Okay, perfect.
With the recommendations that we have.
Yeah.
Any of that follow.
Perfect.
So what is the goal of the survey?
So the goal of the survey is going to be, right now, this is really just an assessment of what people want to use the waterways for. That way, how they're using it.
What are you gonna do with the information that you get?
Then, once we get that information, if people want to see more of certain activities, such as, additional time for water skiing, then we can then approach council and make suggestions to say, hey, this is what the public wants. We're recommending a change to the ordinance. How can we go about doing that?
Like a baseline assessment.
Basically, a baseline assessment, and then on top of that, we're also gonna take the quality of life portions for, like, say, the noise.
Who do you see filling out this survey?
It's going to be, well, people on social media are gonna get a hold of it right away, because they always do. And we're gonna obviously target, the residents around the waterways, like folks within
You're
pretty
not
much.
gonna collect names, you're not gonna track.
No, we're not-
IDs,
we're not-
It's gonna be just wide open for anybody to answer.
Well, I think
You're
the
not gonna
link,
stop it from being answered by the same person 5 times.
well, when
So
survey.
I think you're gonna get a lot of.
We may get a lot of.
You're gonna have to go through all that, somebody is.
Yeah.
To actually get the data that you might think if you.
So on the survey monkey that was, the survey we just did for the building and TV assessment, the IP identifier was only allowed to be used once. Is how this last assessment that
Okay.
we did.
Okay.
So we couldn't be, but we blasted it out to everyone in the city. So I would recommend, not just the people around the water, but I would recommend the entire city.
Well, I mean, the entire city,
Yeah.
yes, but certain things that are going to be, we want to get information, to specifically target, and make sure we're getting input from folks who live around the water. Certain things affect them directly. Of course, we want to also specifically target people who have boats. But we do want to take everybody's input as well.
I think it'd be really interesting to find out what percentage of the people who live in Nassau Bay actually use the water. I think that'd be one of the end results, which is kind of interesting. Other than looking
I
at
think those
water.
first 2 questions.
Yeah, those first two questions will give
Yeah.
us most of the
Sure.
answer right away.
Are you a resident, yes or no? Do you use the waterways or not?
Yeah.
And then how
Yeah.
often do you use it? I mean, if
Be
someone
interesting
says
to
they use it
find out.
once or twice a year versus, hey, I'm out there every weekend.
Well, how much does a survey like that cost? What did it cost to do the police survey?
It was included in the assessment, the building and PD assessment. Yeah, so that was all in one. But I wanna say,
Cause I never saw it. I never saw the survey.
oh, you never saw it? Yeah, our numbers, they were up. It was almost like 90% of the residents
Really?
participated, yeah.
Really?
I never
Yeah,
saw
we did it through the billing,
Water bills.
the water bill, social media, and then we dropped off, how many flyers? I think 600 flyers. And then
How much road be?
I think 650 contractors, emails, I mean, we blanketed,
Yeah.
blanketed everybody, yeah, as much as we could. I wanna say, last time we did one was 6-7 years ago, maybe when Christie was here. I wanna say it was 1,600. I don't know why that number keeps sticking.
Is it
That's
based
about
on-
right, though.
And is it based on the size of the survey, or based on the reach of the survey?
I don't think it was the size. I think it was just the demographics, how many Are we gonna, how much is gonna, and then what's the feedback gonna be? But I wanna say 1,600. I don't know why they keep sticking on that. But that was maybe 7, 8 years
It's
ago.
a double issue.
Yeah.
Everything's double now.
Okay, so then something like this, we probably need to kick through council unless you've got a specific side budget that you're able to use.
I'll talk to Jaime. I don't know, you know, something out of economic development or something like that, but I'll talk to him.
Okay.
And I can follow up.
I think it'd be a good idea too, if we put a deadline on here, this is gonna be, it's gonna close by such and such a time.
Yeah, so we did it 2 months for the building official. We wanted to make sure it went out in 2 billing cycles.
Okay.
So we can determine if we want to do it, you know, for our billing cycles on the 15th and run it maybe to the 3rd, so maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, I think 6, 7 weeks probably more than enough to canvass most, I mean, you should get most of the responses pretty quickly.
If people want to,
Yeah. Agent,
So,
so we're gonna deal with noise, have you seen a decrease?
so we're gonna work all this out before we publish it, right? That's kind of what
Yeah.
we're doing right now.
Yeah, and then we'll, like I said, we'll carry the finalization offline just to get the last little questions, and Herb will kind of get the little fine details done.
Rod, you're asking for input and giving those categories of questions, that's all good. It's probably equivalent, like the chief said, for the goal of this. But isn't there, or should there be maybe a section at the bottom, maybe just as an opportunity to send out a message to people what some of the key areas are that they should be paying attention to, or maybe a reminder of some of the rules and general, some of the things we have to decide out here. Or should we have some of this just providing information to remind people who are getting the survey what some of the concerns are that we have and that the rules are that they should be mindful of?
We did at the beginning of the season, we pushed out, social media content about the new wake zones in the code, and that things have been changed by council and stuff. We did push that out on the, let me look real quick and I'll tell you when we pushed it out.
We're talking about sending it out to a larger community, and maybe a bigger population to communicate.
Maybe we don't want to clutter the survey, but at the same time, we do want to have, maybe just a link to the information.
Information, yeah.
May 20th.
Yeah, for
Right
safe
before,
voting.
right before Memorial Day, we sent out,
Okay.
a whole list of what was going on and voting information, so. Then we put it on our website, we put it on our social media pages, so we pushed it out, It talked about wearing flotation devices, about the new wake zone areas, about, voters education courses, availabilities, and things like that, so.
So one thing that's been new to me is understanding how this paddling community works. And there's a very active community doing paddling. It's just a lot more active than I ever thought. And there's a lot to learn about paddling. So one of the things that happened is League City's putting in a new floating dock by the 270 bridge. And they're also rebuilding that ramp over there, which is terrible condition.
Yeah, they're putting in 2 kayak launches within the city, but they're spending about $1 million.
I know, I saw that.
On the two docks and everything to go with it, so.
Yeah.
See the work being done there.
Yeah, a little bit more than 35,000 that we're spending on it.
Yeah.
They're spending,
Structure, it's not a little floating thing.
they're spending $500,000 on each one of their,
I saw that.
yeah.
And they got grants for it too, didn't they?
I don't know how it's paid for. Probably my tax dollars.
Yeah, the only League City, they,
All stock sales, tax dollars.
they probably raid the hot funds or something. But that's,
There's a lot of hotels.
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
It's real funny, I went to one of the paddling events in Friendswood a while back and started talking to the Rotarians. They put on the paddling events. And, but they have no hotels in Friendswood, so they don't have any hot funds.
I wonder if any of that kayaking traffic will find its way up into the code or that increased traffic. The
Well,
city docks.
well, sure. I think so.
Well, I think it's always gonna be a issue. You got pro paddlers and pro powerboat skiers. And unfortunately, we just don't have the resources to be out there in the water.
One, I
2 or
know-
3 years ago, at the Christmas boat parade, we had that one team of kayakers that they kayaked all the way over here from Kima and then back for the boat parade
Yeah.
at nighttime.
They're just nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they were decorated up, but,
Yeah.
so yeah, we've had kayaks in the cove.
Uh-huh.
Not over, I don't know if you got anything else on that particular item.
No, I think we've got a pretty good number of questions that we can, categories, and like I said, we can then build the rest of it. And then, when do we want to have this, when should we have this to you, Paul, do you think?
Let's give us some time to
Yeah.
maneuver. Boating season's almost over right now.
Yeah, I mean, boating season's pretty much, getting into its final legs here.
We're past our halfway point, we have 7 weekends left.
And obviously, so anything that we do is obviously gonna be dealt with postseason anyways.
Yeah.
In preparation for potentially for
Sure.
next year and whatnot.
Sure.
So
A
we
month and a half, or?
just have it ready for the next
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah, if you can.
Okay, finalize, all right, so we'll have finalized for next meeting.
Okay.
Well, I wanna make sure that we get this.
Being we're close to the end of the boating season, just a thought, rather than push it out at the very end of the boating season and having a lot of issues of, why are you pushing this out now? Maybe wait till after the end of the boating season, and then people get the idea that we're getting ready for next year.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, some people may get it, towards the end of the boating season and say, well, this is ridiculous, why do this now? Where if it's pushed out after boating season, they get the idea that it's preparation for next year.
Okay.
It might take more interest, I don't know, just.
All right, that's
That makes sense.
pretty good,
Then you're not so rushed.
So, I mean, we can
We can
look at.
He said no.
Then you won't be so rushed to
Yeah.
get it out.
So if we at least have the questions finalized for the
Yeah.
next meeting, which will be probably end of August-ish, give or take, so I live life in 6-week cycles. I think everyone should try it, it's awesome. 4 weeks on, 2 weeks, whatever, but, if we finalize it by the next meeting, and then that gives us time to actually build it into the survey, figure out exactly when it's gonna launch, and then you can launch it in September, beginning of October. And maybe even put a little forward in there to alleviate any concerns, say, hey, we were sending the survey out, well, maybe we can figure out the verbiage, but basically to alleviate the concerns that, we're not just jamming this in right at the end for no reason, we're building to have the winter the fall and the winter to really figure out what we wanna do, and then provide time before the next boating season, if any rule changes need to happen, things like that, we've got time for those to work their way from committee to council through that whole process.
Yeah, because there may not be a big concern after boating season. I mean, I'm not getting no complaints right now. I mean, I'll put that out there. I'm not getting no complaints at all.
About what?
Huh?
About what?
About the activities in the cove, I mean, anywhere, I'm just not getting no complaints at all.
It's slowed down a lot.
Got slowed down a whole lot, yeah, so.
That's good.
I think all the efforts everyone's done, and, it's paying off,
Yeah, I think, just off the top of my head, we may have had 2 noise complaints, and they were both late at night. One of them, I think, was maybe like 2:30 in the morning. I don't even remember if that was a weekend or a weekday.
I heard that one.
Yeah.
You know, not much we can do on that, you know, on the land, but, so, yeah, so I agree with Paul. I think what we've been doing has been effective so far.
And so far, when an officer shows up, just, you know, in the area, they automatically turn down the music. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's helping, everything is helping.
And the signs are gonna add another
Yeah.
layer,
Yeah.
you know, just like we said when we started the committee, is that, you know, when if people can read what to do, most of them will do it. But if there's no sign, they do what they wanna do. And it might be right and it might be wrong.
Yeah, I think some people have a misconception that we can quell everything, all the nuisances with
Right.
voting. And it's no different than traffic, you know, on the streets. You know, we're out there patrolling, and we still got people running stop signs and speeding and drinking and driving, so, you know.
And young people are gonna be young people. They're gonna have fun, they're gonna, you know, lay out, they're gonna listen to music, they're young.
You know, it's so
And the young
interesting
and
going to
hard.
the
That's
dog,
right.
going to the dog park all the time, because I see a different level than people see in the code. And they see a lot of different levels. For example, the other day, Parks and Wildlife came streaming through there. I mean, they were going somewhere. I was gonna see if they turned around and came back, but they didn't, so then maybe they went up the creek to League City. But, you know, there's more good activity that I see on the water down there with Parks and Wildlife. Once in a while, a Coast Guard, but the League City will, every once in a while, I guess, but not much.
Yeah, not much.
They don't patrol.
They what?
They do not patrol.
Don't they really?
No, they.
We're the only agency.
They're
Yeah.
both, yeah.
And Tom's right, because we talked to El Largo, Seabrook, everyone, you know, is having, I think we're doing a lot better than most of the surrounding cities.
The other
honestly,
agencies,
so.
boats go in the water for specific events or specific call-outs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't, it's expensive.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Especially that new boat that League City got a few years ago, that thing was, cost a fortune to put in the water.
$5 million boat that doesn't go out very often. We have other agencies call us when they get calls.
Amazingly, they got a huge grant to get that boat.
Yep.
They don't even use it.
$5 million.
And that's one issue, just, you know, to be transparent, I'll bring up here in budget, is that, you know, we use a $500,000 public safety vote. If we're gonna use, how many hours did y'all do this,
This
Fourth of
past
July?
weekend, it was short, so it would be
Yeah.
16, maybe 17.
And
As
then-
far as
and then
Fourth
Fourth of July, what was it, Chief?
enforcement for this year, and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days that we didn't go out because of weather on the
Yeah,
weekends.
yeah.
And we've had 50 hours of enforcement, so,
Really?
yeah, that's not counting preparation, sure voting, and then afterwards.
So the hours that I report, that includes like going to get fuel or getting the boat.
Still a part of the
ready.
operation, yep,
Yeah.
yep,
So
absolutely.
the
yeah.
training, we've done a lot of training this year.
Yeah. This 50 hours is strictly enforcement, when they hit the water, and they're in the cove, and they're in the creek, and they're doing monitoring of the boats and stuff. There's a lot more hours that go into it, preparation, you know, fueling up, getting all that stuff, training and stuff like that, so, yeah, we, contrary to popular belief, we put a lot of time and effort and money into our
And do
marine
we,
operations.
and do we want a $500,000 public safety vote up and down the cove when, say there is a fire, and the boat happens to be in the shop for, you know, maintenance, because it's in the water a lot?
Yeah.
I mean, we have to take that into consideration. you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, it's 4 guys gotta run it, you know, so it's a lot.
Twice
It's
a
lot.
year, it'll go at the end of the season, it'll go back for maintenance, and the last time when we did it in May, it was, I want to say $2,400.
Yeah. Like,
That's just doing fuels, pulling the bottom half of the motors off, making sure everything's clear there.
the gentleman talking earlier about putting an empty car, you know, we have 5 patrol cars. And right now, I have 4 patrol cars because one of them's in the shop.
Yeah.
You know, there's accidents, there's
drive by the park and miss it for a second.
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's a little bit of a, and then there's just bushes, you know, not even see it.
But, we don't have the luxury that, you know, some of the bigger departments have to put an extra, you know, unit out or anything like that, so, just any, I'll let you go, Brian, so you can move on.
Alrighty, so, new business, 7.1, consideration possible action regarding blind bend awareness. Discussion of possible action regarding the blind bend near David Braun Park and how to best inform voters of existing rules and safety. You know, obviously, you know, the mayor has been pretty adamant that they're not going to do a no wake zone over there.
No.
He's been pretty adamant about that. He was here at our meeting back in February or March, that he attended one after Councilmember Tomasi passed away. I think it was February. And he was pretty adamant that council doesn't want to put a no wake in there. On top of the layers that it would take in order to fully do that. However, we can make efforts to make people aware that this is a dangerous turn. These are the rules that are around that through Coast Guard, that the city is able to enforce through our own ordinances, and our own maritime code says that we can enforce, you know, the city can enforce the nav rules that are set forth by Coast Guard. It says it right in there. So people come whipping around that bend and they're not blowing the horn, technically, they can enforce that. If they're there, they can enforce that. And so the question is how do we get people to be aware that this is a dangerous turn? You know, because we do have, I mean, you know, near misses don't typically get reported. Luckily, we had a gentleman come in today to let us know about a pretty serious near miss. I mean, you know, two boats and a third one cuts in between them at a pretty decent rate of speed.
And I think that's just common sense. I don't know, you need to put signs out there about cutting boats.
No, I mean, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, but just in general, that this is this particular little stretch, you know,
Sure.
several hundred feet on either side of the bend, you know, the bendway there.
So information that I think I brought to the committee, early on, at the beginning of the year, when I talked to Parks and Wildlife and the Coast Guard, and I talked to the Waterways Management Division. If you remember, there was, excuse me, information about putting anything in the water. Signage has to be no wake, it has to be approved by, the US Coast Guard if it's going in the water. If it's something that's gonna be put on pilings outside of the water, because it's right there, it's gonna have to be approved by the Corps of Engineers about putting pilings in any shoreline or anything like that. So, but yes, if we wanted to put up something dangerous curve or something like that, we can do that without the US Coast Guard approval on the signage, because that's not what, you know, it's not a no wake or a speed limit or anything like that sign. It's not an aid the navigation. But then we still have to go through the process of Corps of Engineers, and I think Paul also got that information when he was checking on that
I'm
too.
sure the
Yeah,
Coast
that
Guard,
was-
I'm sorry, the Corps of Engineers has so many feet of.
Yeah,
you know,
right away.
is there right away.
Yeah,
So, in the past, I would reach out to Roscoe Lee. I mean, when I started doing my paddling events, I'd reach out to Roscoe, and I asked Roscoe, Roscoe told me that at one point, there was a no wake zone put up on land in the park. By the ramp, where the kayak ramp is. But that was like, you know, before Paul's time, probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
how do you
and,
remember that? Yeah.
like Chief said, I reached out, I was trying to find an email, to,
when you were researching the dock, the floating
yeah,
dock.
the float dock, and I reached out to them, and they said absolutely not. It has to come before the US,
What, the Corps of Engineers.
Corps of Engineers
And the GLO.
And the GLO. And I sent them the picture of the dock, and they said absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Now we changed subjects from a no wake zone to a dock.
No,
Well,
it's
it's
the
the
same thing,
pilings.
it's the same thing.
Pilings.
yeah,
The pilings.
same
Yeah,
thing, yeah.
it's not necessarily what's being built, but putting pilings into the shoreline, the water has to, because the general land office has a right of way, and so does the
Right.
Corps of Engineers.
Right, I
Yeah,
understand.
so it's the pilings. So if we're gonna put signage or something, you know, my opinion is, you know, if you were gonna put signage, the best place to put it would be across the creek over on the League City, the nature preserve, but that's League City's decision. You put it on our side, and again, I'm not sure, there's a small portion of the boating community and the other larger portion of the general public, I'm not sure they want a huge sign, you know, on the side of the park. I'm not sure the city council wants to put a huge sign there.
And people who live right there as well probably don't want to see.
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Definitely
Yeah.
don't want to, you know,
No.
4x8 or however big a sign you want to throw it in there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah,
So I don't know how you get in there, you know.
Yeah, this is from Allison, Buchanan, Permit Service, the GLO says, Diane Mannon at the GLO's report office asked me to contact you regarding the proposed floating dock that you would like to place in Clear Creek. This will require prior approval from the GLO and the Corps of Engineers. I have attached the forms information you'll need to apply for both. At the same time, I received drawings. You sent over, make sure that the drawings show all the information shown on the sample drawing attached. Please submit all items applicants, and then we have, Chief's conversation with the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yeah, that's where I just read from.
So, that sign may have been put up a long time ago.
I know, well,
Yeah.
before you were here.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying, that's.
So again, I don't know how you get the information out there from.
Sure.
I think, you know, probably most voters see a curve and most responsible voters know it's a dangerous curve. They probably know what they're supposed to do, you know.
I think what's happened over the years, I think that people have just gotten sloppy. I mean, like Faye Bennett said, it used to be a no-wake zone through that whole creek, and I don't remember that. She
Well, you know, those sharp bends and having to, you know, air horn or whatever, you know, it's just like people that are on the streets. They know they're supposed to use turn signals to make turns. How many people do? 50%? Yeah. I mean, you know, maybe more than 50%, but not 100%, so it's the same issue. People know that you're supposed to, you know, give a signal coming around that bend, but they're just not gonna do it. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, and I'm not, you know,
No, it's just the
I'm not
reality.
ignoring it, yes, it's the reality of the situation.
So part of our job is to inform people about those kind of things.
Yeah.
And so that's fine, best ways to do it. I mean, yes, signage is a way to do it. Is it gonna be the most effective? Probably a lot of pushback from certain groups. Social media, effective to an extent, but for people who don't have social media, it's not gonna be that useful. City website, you know, the voting page, good resource, but not always, not accessed by everyone, but if you hit a little bit here, a little bit there, you probably get more.
What about getting the information out, not necessarily just from us, but voting community in general to the marinas and those type of places where the voters, you know, where they're focused at.
Yeah.
And those, like those little koozies, handing out those koozies and reading that.
Email their respective marina masters, you know,
Yeah, so to remind everybody, you know,
hey, just if you're going up this way, you know, Coast Guard auxiliary when they do their inspections. I think ultimately, and this is for next year, something to kind of maybe start thinking in the back of our minds, is us creating a brochure, pamphlet, something to distribute out, you know, through maritime partners, you know, marinas, marine dealers, Coast Guard auxiliary, and potentially even if we can arrange maybe a blessing of the fleet, that would be maybe coordinating a special events committee on that, do a blessing of the fleet. And as boats come by, you know, especially if the police boat goes out, we can hand out brochures to everyone that comes by.
we did that during the COVID summer, because the cove was extremely popular. And we had flyers that had boating safety regulations on it, but also had koozies, but we also had on the flyer COVID
Right.
related information about how to boat and follow the COVID rules that we had at that time, when life was different. And I know that some of the guys on the boat said they made their way into the water, a lot of those flyers. So,
I think koozies are great.
Yeah.
Everyone loves koozies.
Yeah.
Float.
You know, yeah, they float.
again, if they throw them in the water, they float. Yeah, I mean, we did, and I think we still have some of
Yeah.
those koozies.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they are, but they got
Yeah.
regulations on them, but.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
they're orange. So, you know, we can maybe next year get some more of those made up and have the information about, you know, blind bins and stuff. Because I know that wasn't on there
It
the
wasn't.
last time.
Right.
no.
You know, it's kind of funny about the GLO, because I get a chance to work with them in conjunction with the Dead Boat Society, so I've gotten to know them pretty well. And, they went out to the GLO boat and put the Dead Boat Society up to that big old flag we have, the Dead Boat Society. And they, you know, went around Clear Lake hanging that thing on. They're very supportive of Nassau Bay. They like working with Nassau Bay, the GLO. Really do.
So I think for right now, really the best methods are gonna be reaching out to the local marinas, you know, their individual harbor masters, and do a little bit of social media outreach. I'll craft up a post and I'll kick it to you guys to, have that and explain the, you know, explain the relevant NAV rule, the city ordinance, and obviously, picture of the bend, hey, this is a dangerous curve, you know, please do take caution. Kind of go from there. Hopefully, maybe that'll reduce the unsafe activity around there, and try to.
Well, we know it's dangerous through there.
Yeah. So I mean, we
Some
want
people
people
don't.
to be, we want people to be safe, and we have a safety committee, but we want people to enjoy the waters at the same time. So education and awareness are gonna go a long way.
So, this is for both the chiefs, this is kind of interesting information that came out that I saw myself. So at the last October, the time had just changed, and a boat came out there with a surfer on, coming around the corner, and it was kind of pretty because all the red lights go up, so the surfer can see the water. But that is also illegal because it also conflicts with your red lights and blue lights, right?
They're on the water.
Yeah.
You're talking about boats that are putting all the red LED,
Underneath
green
and stuff.
LED.
Underneath, yeah.
So.
I don't know about on the water.
You may display any lights that you wish on the water, provided that they do not conflict with existing navigation lights. Now,
It's a big
law-
thing you see at night now, they're putting those blue glows on the back,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Now, for law enforcement, it's a rapidly flashing blue light. Is their navigation light, on top of their regular running lights, they also now have they have to have a strobing or fast rotating blue light. Anyone engaged in public safety, say like a yacht patrol or things like that, would have an alternating yellow and red, in addition to their navigation lights.
That's why we have two switches on our boat, fire and police, because we can't run the blue unless there's a police officer on the boat.
Correct.
But yellow light?
Yellow, amber and red.
Yeah, it's
Amber,
amber
Brian is
red.
talking about amber is like more for the marinas and, their private areas that they're patrolling.
Yeah, so-
Not for us.
Yeah, so I mean, for law enforcement, if they're out on patrol, once an officer is on board, they can they can, you know, put the blue light on. But it's a flashing, it's not a solid blue.
But your question, Jim, about them having lights and, you know, behind them so that the skier can see or whatever, that it's not violating anything I'm aware of.
Okay.
So as long, as it said, the way the nav rules are written, it's as long as it can't be confused for another navigational light.
Okay.
So that's the big thing.
So we're leaving it up to the general public to figure that out, huh?
I think it's more of a decorative.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, of course,
yeah.
of course.
All
Okay.
right, now for the hard one. 7.2, consideration of possible action, date for next meeting. Set the date for the end of August, early September.
Here's a recommendation I have, is we set it up, no matter whether you're gone or not, we set it up on a regular, consistent basis. We know the second weekend of each month, or whatever it is, we're gonna have a meeting, instead of floating this around like this. at a consistent time during the month.
That's a suggestion, and if you wanna make a motion as to that, and you wanna pick that particular date, and make a motion, you'll need a
Let's have a
second.
conversation about the
Well,
date.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
we can
yeah.
have a conversation about it.
That's what, I wanna move that we set up a standard time to have our meetings. And we have a discussion before that about when we do that, but.
And I'll be out on vacation September 5th to the 15th, but I can pass all my information on to Elias or Chief.
Okay.
Would be good to have a meeting right after Labor Day, so we get, any feedback from the Labor Day weekend.
So then just basically miss the
I'm
month of
sorry,
August. which,
was there a motion on the table or not? I thought.
No, he hasn't formally moved it.
okay.
We're just discussing right now.
Just want to make sure, thank you.
September 1st is Labor Day.
Yeah, the third is a Wednesday, right after Labor Day.
Yeah, and I actually go back to the vote the day after. I mean, that works out for me. on the third.
I'm sorry, what day was that?
September 3rd.
September
September
3rd?
3rd.
Okay.
So,
I got nothing on my calendar. Yeah.
Maybe we'll add this one. So,
I probably wouldn't be there. That's the first Wednesday of the month.
Yeah.
It's the night of our regional fire chiefs meeting.
we'll get your cardboard cut out, or your voodoo doll, whichever one you want.
so are you guys?
And I'll be on vacation.
I'm good.
I mean, are you guys good with trying to set up a?
Oh, yeah,
regular
yeah.
basis?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys wanna do a standard one,
Yeah.
in which
Like
case,
the second Wednesday of each.
Yeah,
each month.
going forward after the September meeting, do we wanna,
Yeah.
do we wanna actually we can actually make the decision at the September meeting as to what the date's going to be, that way we can all kind of,
Sure.
figure out.
So what you're
might
saying
work
is
best.
we'll think about it and come to the next meeting and say,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna start doing this on the second.
Yeah, going forward, we'll actually figure out what day, that way we can make sure we're not conflicting with other, standing things such as,
Right.
Parks and Recs has a deal.
Right,
Yeah,
or-
right.
yeah.
I
And then
know
I
they
can
do.
book this for the whole year.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
Wednesday, first week,
Okay.
or whatever.
That's good.
Okay, so next meeting, we're looking at September 3rd at 4 o'clock.
Wow, okay. Sounds good.
Gets us the post-Labor Day numbers and all that, so.
You said 4 o'clock?
Yeah, I think 4 o'clock seems to have worked pretty well so far
Yep.
for everybody.
September what again?
3rd, Wednesday the 3rd. So I'll need a motion for the Wednesday, September 3rd.
We'll make a motion, we do that.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
All right. Jim, seconded by Herb. All in favor? Motion carries. All right, next meeting will be then, and then we will, we'll take a look and see what permanent day of the month will work. And then kind of go from there. And I do know that there are some rules that, the state allows for remoting in, and we'll have to see if the council will be okay with us having participants via remote for a committee meeting. And then we go from there. Other than that, I need a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn. I make the motion, we adjourn.
Second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
We're done. Meeting is adjourned at 17:32. All right.
Oh,
Perfect.
Parks and Wildlife, right down the road.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So they're out there. I know there's some staff around here, but they're out there doing their jobs.
Yeah.
They didn't seem all that job to jail today.
Yeah.
You know that council's
Yeah.
gonna
When those
be
guys show up,
Yeah, yeah.
anybody shows up.
lining things out. All 5 of us are appointed, and we're all appointed for a 2-year term. Obviously, we were all put on for a 2-year term.
Nice man, really
That
nice
was
guy.
shifted to
To
the
the dead
July
bones
date.
society.
Right now, we need to figure out,
Try to do it tomorrow.
the council's gonna figure out
So I reached out.
Yeah, that's
where we
fine.
get shifted to the alternate. That way, all 5.
No, I want.
Yeah,
Well, I was-
one year we'll have 2 reappointments, 1 year we'll have 3.
Yeah.
We're in the good, our committee doesn't have, none of us have to reapply or anything right now, so we're clear on that. When that time does come,
things to come up, and folks will have to
Verify.
And I've got a-
So, are you doing the same thing?
No.
Okay.
Because as long as you're perfect doing a good job. Might be some programs that allow them to do. That's good, that you don't lose everything.
Okay.
So, but I mean, but I'm just saying, we may have to bring that.
So then we'll be all committees,
So one of the,
every committee,
you know, all of the pushback was, people came up with when they came up with the motion. One guy came to the first meeting, came back, and all the guys pushed it out, so. And then, one guy, not a voter, they said, what's that? No way it's going there.
So they're gonna look at that.
It'll get my property out.
Good deal.
I'd like to see some evidence on that. Another guy said, yeah. Our voter.
I've heard, so,
He said, well, I wasn't getting.
You're good, yeah.
All right, man.
You too. Bye-bye.
Well, can the Coast Guard do this and that?
Photoshop.
The Coast Guard, part of the Homeland Security.
Suspend our live stream here.
So he didn't know, but he said.
Photoshop, not
Yeah.
all.
They came in, but one of the houses.
Yeah.